Hello, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Orlando Redden. I'm the District 4 Growth Director for 2017-2018. I do have a couple ground rules for this webinar. If you have a question, please ask. I've got a notebook beside me just in case you need a parking lot and deal with it after the webinar. But I will be asking questions, and feel free to answer any of those questions, give suggestions along the way, or ask some questions. So the whole point of this webinar right now is to work with clubs and help them with their recruitment and retention. What we're going to cover is recruitment basics, membership retention, the concept of the 5 whys, and a membership flow chart, which shows the whole membership, and we're going to break that down and explain why it's actually important to know these types of things and how you can evaluate your club based upon it. The first things we need to take in consideration when we're thinking about our clubs is the basics. Why our club? Is the location the reason why our members are going there? Is it the time slot? Is it the environment of the club? How's the setup? Is the setup similar to more of a corporate setting, and that's what people want to practice towards? Is the setup more of like a classroom setting, and that's what they want to practice towards? Is it company sponsored? In other words, is it paid for, and that's the reason why people go there? The members, is that the reason why people go there and stay? Is it the club culture? All those are actually surprisingly important. Even businesses take those into consideration when they're marketing their business. An example of club culture, which is important, and as growth director, I suggest people visit as many clubs as possible, not just to gain and learn new things from other clubs, but as a new member to find out what the right fit for them is, so they'll have the best Toastmaster experience available for them. When I first joined Toastmasters, or shortly after I became an area director, so I was involved in visiting several clubs, I brought a friend with me to visit my home club. We are a specialty club focused on leadership. We had a small group that day of only about 12 people. That group intimidated my friend because the professionalism we came in, just our natural presence, it made the meeting intimidating for them, even though it was a very low turnout as meetings go, or that's actually about average. Then I brought my friend to another club. That club had approximately 30 people in attendance that day. Most were members. Everyone was friendly, inviting, even though it had that large amount, and they did ask them to stand up as a guest and speak a little bit, they felt a lot more comfortable doing that. For me, the big club wasn't a fit for me, but it would have been a great fit for my friend. The leadership club, which what I was part of, was a fit for my needs. That's why it's best to know why your club for you, so that way you can market it, or you and your fellow members. That way you can market it to everyone else, and then you'll be able to find out the why for there and help reflect that on your guests' why. So, and that's when you ask, or a lot of us ask at the beginning of the meetings, like, what brings you to our club? Like, oh, it's a great time for me. It's a great fit on location. It's something they can make at lunchtime, or it's something they can do right after work or before work, depending on where you're at. Or this is something my management told me I needed to look at. It's like, great, let me align that with why your actual club versus just a Toastmasters club. But once you find out your club's why, it's like, what makes your club special? What makes it amazing? What's going to make it attract people? Then you can start working on the other aspects of recruitment basics, which we're going to dive into now. So some of the recruitment basics are open houses. The benefit of an open house isn't just to get guests in, but it's fun for the club. It changes up the meeting a little bit. It even gives leadership opportunities for your members. It's not just something that the officers have to do. You can have a chair for an open house. You can have a contest based upon the open house. There's a lot of different things you can do for open houses to make it a fun environment, to encourage members to bring people to it, or members that are there or guests that are there to actually sign up for the membership. So that's one recruitment. It's basic one is just having an open house, having food, maybe bringing an outside speaker from the district, area directors, division directors, or even some of us other district leaders. We're more than happy to come if time allows us to attend those types of events for you and support your clubs on your goals for increased membership. The other one is a club contest or a membership building contest. You can break it down any way you want. Points for guests, more points for members. In other words, if you bring a guest, you get 1 point. If they sign and become a member, then they get 5 points. The person with the most points at the end of a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever way you choose wins. And it's whatever you want them to win. Is it just recognition in a newsletter, your Facebook page, or anywhere else? Is it a gift card to whatever they would like, whatever your club's thing is? Or is it some Toastmaster swag? The Toastmaster t-shirt? Is it a mug or another aspect like that? But you choose how you want to reward that member for bringing the most guests through or getting the most members to sign up. There's even part of the application where they can sponsor the guests to have them sign up. So that's actually tracked as well. Ways of doing this is member business cards. So it's just something very simple. It could have the member's name on it, club name, address, time of the meeting, and way to contact. Typically not the member, but the club. That way it'll direct the person to the club, either the VP of membership, your sergeant arms, whoever's going to be greeting them is the way you want to connect them to it. It might have a link to your club's Facebook page on it. It might have a link to your website, some aspect like that so they can gain more information. Also, elevator pitches. I'm sure quite a few of you are familiar with an elevator pitch, but I'll go into it briefly. It's just a brief reason why someone should join your club or what makes your club special and awesome. And that's why I did it in this order. So you know your why. And then that way you can move it to an elevator pitch style presentation. If you have it short enough or you can take part of it, you can have it on that business card as well, like on the back side of it. Something for my club, which is the Fighting 49ers, I joke around with people. It's like, yeah, we lose members to promotions and new jobs. That's a great reason to lose a member. I'm proud of those reasons for losing members. It no longer fits their schedule because they got a promotion and got a new job. And to people looking for that, that's a selling point to join that club. It's like, that's what it's like? I'm like, yeah. It's also an oasis in your day. You're gaining, you're learning, you're relaxing, you're enjoying yourself. You have a break in your day that's going to build you up and lead it to the next steps in your life, in your career. So something simple like that's a quick pitch. At least it's enough to tie them in and gain more interest. And then you can dig in, if time allowing, to give them more information on Toastmasters or your club. Or that's what the business card's there for. It's like, I'd love to go into this more here. Reach out to my VP of membership. They'll go over this information with you, and you can have that for the club. Or if you go to network meetings, have 2 business cards, one for your company, one for your club. And that way you can network multiple ways. I've gone to networking events and I've talked about my job, my day job, and people are like, yeah, what is that? And not really that interested. I start talking about Toastmasters. The interest is peaked. And that also helps you expand your networking too. So it's a win-win when it comes to that. So those are just 2 of the basics for recruitment. Now let's tie into the others. Online presence. Facebook's free. Yelp's free. A Google or Google Plus page. Toastmaster International. You're automatically put on, or your club's automatically put on Toastmaster International. Make sure that information's up to date. If your club's moved or changed things, it might not be up to date. You have to let them know. Meetup isn't free, but has created a lot of success for some clubs. Having a club website is another way of doing it. But the key things about all those is it has to be up to date. What's fun about it, and what do you post? The reason I added those is I work for a software marketing company. And we use Facebook as an avenue to gain likes and followers. And the way we did that was whatever the business was the main theme, but we made it fun. We spread the knowledge about them by having fun posts where people would want to share those posts. And everything changed right back to the club or the business in the aspect of what my position was. And it gained interest, gained knowledge of the club, and you could pitch it that way. But it's good to actually keep track of these metrics. One thing we did, Faces of Friday. Our club meets on Friday, so our PR manager took pictures of people in our club and posted that up on Friday. That got more likes and feedback than our Word of the Day Wednesdays. So we knew what worked better than others, or what worked more. So we leaned towards more things or doing more of what actually worked. So that's pretty crucial on that aspect of social media. And if it's free, use it. When it comes to meetup in District 4, if you have events you'd like to do, reach out to our PR manager, and he's more than happy to post your meetup events on our district meetup page. So it'll expand the reach of that, and it's free to you as a member. So definitely take advantage of that to help promote your club. Also, who in your area can help you, but why would they? So when you're asking someone to help you, but it's got to be a what's in it for me. And your area, it could be your company, it could be your community, or it could be your area, as in Toastmaster area, the 4 to 6 clubs in your area. You can reach out to those easily through your area director, or just reach out to them and say, hey, I'm part of your area, or we're nearby. I would like to help you, or I'd like help from you by giving opportunities for your members to speak at our club, and just figure out what's going to work for them and for you. The ways that it can benefit by working with other clubs in your area is joint meetings. Like if you have a very low turnout for your meetings, have some guest speakers in there. It changes things up for your current members. Then if you have guests, your meeting looks fuller, or it actually is fuller. Then the other club, what's in it for them, they have opportunities for their members to speak that they wouldn't have. So there are clubs in our district that have 60 members, 40 members, 50 members, and it can get difficult to cycle those through, give them as many speaking opportunities as they like. So if you're a struggling club without that many members, it's a good opportunity to reach out to them and partner up with them to give them that opportunity, which in turn helps your club. By one, it gets some foot traffic in. It gets an outside perception on your club. So you can gain feedback from them as well and saying, hey, what do you like about our club? What rooms do we have for improvement? Or do you have some suggestions of fun activities that we could do to change things up, on top of them just being there as a speaker and helping your meeting be fuller and change things up a little bit. So those are just the main basics for recruitment. To recap a little bit, we've got our open house contest. We have just membership building contest, elevator pitches, a business card for your members, then your online presence. Those are all different avenues: Facebook, Yelp, Google, Toastmasters International. Make sure it's up to date, having your own website, and the other clubs in your area, either being physical area or Boundaries by Toastmasters International. Either way is perfectly fine. Reach out to them, but make sure when you approach them, you give what's in it for them. So why would they want to help you on these types of things? Now we're going to dig into membership retention. First part of this, though, is red flags. A lot of times clubs are in trouble and it feels a lot more difficult to get out of it. But if you catch an issue early, you can squash it so it doesn't cause as much of a pain to reformat things or rebuild things. It's pretty much like the 80-20 concept. You can do 20% of like the customers give you 80% of the revenue, but also flips the other way around. But early issues, that small 20% chain reactions into 80% issues further down the line. But what is a red flag? Red flag is a warning of danger or a problem. We didn't take time to notice the red flags and regret it now. That happens a lot with clubs. There was something going on, they didn't notice it, or they swept it underneath the carpet. Now it's a big issue. So let's dig into a couple things that might be red flags. Did we lose our why? That's an energy of the club. Now this one is here because it's important to understand what your personal why is so you can spread it to everyone else. Like, why are we here? Did we forget? Did the reason change? Did our reason lose the power it used to have? Someone may have joined Toastmasters to give a speech at a wedding. Is the wedding over already? Do they need a new reason to be there? Was someone trying to get a promotion? Was someone trying to get through school? Did that reason lose its power to actually cause them to be there on a regular basis? Are people there because it's what they're supposed to do now, or a manager pressing them to go, but they're not getting anything really out of it or as much out of it, or not contributing as much as they could because they don't know what their why is? They don't feel empowered enough to actually do more or reasons to do more. And so they start saying things like, oh, it's just what I'm supposed to do. It's just what I do every week now. No big deal. Or my boss told me to. Those aren't very good whys. Why is I want to be a better person or professional. I want to kill it any time and every time I get in front of an audience. Or I'm an entrepreneur. I want to be able to pitch my company. Or I'm an engineer. I need to sell this modification to management to get a budget to allow us to make this change. Your program, project management, any of those, you know how important it is to be able to present well, to be able to get things done. And that's a good why to be here. Don't forget the leadership aspect of Toastmasters as well. So what's the why? It's like, I want to be a leader in my family. I want to be a leader in maybe your church, your community, whatever community that is. You can become a leader and refine those skills here in Toastmasters. Is that a powerful why for people to stay and be engaged? So that's one thing to ask. It's like, why are you still here? Did you have a goal? Do we need to expand that goal? Are you close to achieving that goal? Great, let's set another one. Because once they achieve that goal, they're going to lose that energy. They're going to lose that why. And they might fade away at that point. Another good one is to have a lot of stories. Talk to a lot of Toastmasters. It helps energize people and inspire people to come up with new whys because you can hear other people's stories. So for this, I would start with yourself and then reach out to others. Find out what your why is. Obviously, everyone on this call has a very good why because you're here. You may want to write it down, refine it, and that way you can help others go through that process of finding what that powerful why is to actually be able to help grow the club or attend that meeting or actually contribute to the meeting beyond just attending it. Give those speeches and give those speeches well. So that's why the why is extremely important. It's actually really important in everything that we do in our life is understanding our why. So Toastmasters is no different. Other red flags. Officer participation. Are the officers not attending club officer trainings, COTs? Are they not meeting regularly? So for officers, they should meet once a month together just to evaluate the club, see how they're doing on their personal goals or club goals, or they're not wanting to participate in district activities or the Distinguished Club program. The same officers term after term after term. Most of you might know this and might not as well. A president should only be a president for 12 consecutive months. There are very few exceptions to that rule. So you've had a president for the same 4 years, they need to allow someone else or help encourage someone else to take that role. Then they get the best role there is, which is an immediate past president. That's what I got to do this year on top of being a growth director. I got to support another leader grow. It felt great. Now let's break down why it's a red flag for all these other ones though. Not attending club officer training. There's always new information. And it might help their why by attending these. because they get to actually hear other people's issues or ideas. If they've done the role several times, they've been a Toastmaster for 10 years, they've been in that officer role for 4 years, 3 years, or whatever the case may be, they may not feel they can actually gain anything from this, but they'll be surprised. The one thing they can gain from going to any club officer training, no matter how many times, is the giving back. They get to help inspire other Toastmasters. They get to help expand their network from just attending those trainings. That's why it's crucial to do that. And important information is passed along through those trainings that even if you've done it many times, you may have forgot one of these details. Incentive programs are announced at these club officer trainings. If you've done it a lot and you want to expand your skill set, be a trainer for one of these club officer trainings. As a district, we do host train the trainer sessions to help refine your skills as a facilitator to host some of these trainings. And if you're really excited, you've done the role a lot, and you want to help others, you do get credit as an officer for training a training that you're an officer of. So if you're a secretary of your club, you train or facilitate a secretary training session, you get credit for that, just as well as attending the meeting. So if you're an officer, you're not attending the meetings regularly as well, then you're leading the club. That's another red flag there. Regularly, I'm not saying every single week. That's not possible. But you're a leader of the club. You should be there. You should see what's going on in the club. You should gain the feedback from the club. And that will actually affect things. So if you're not meeting regularly, maybe you lost your why, or they lost their why on why they're even an officer, or why they're there. So that's a red flag. If you catch that early, then you can help find out what their why is and help them, or let them step down, give them permission to step down and be a member, then get someone else in there that has an opportunity to grow. So these are all just basic red flags. If you're not participating in the district club program, then you might not be able to catch some of the other things. And it's also nice to say your president's distinguished, select distinguished, or even a distinguished club. It's a great advertising point, and it's a sense of achievement, not just as officers, but even the club as well. So that's why it's important to be able to do these things. And part of that is through the club success plan at the beginning of the year. But you can also do that multiple times throughout the year, just as a checkup on seeing how things are going. Now, if the officers are being in there term after term, they might not be growing, or they might be burned out because no one else wants to step up. So that's another red flag right there, because they will lose interest, or no one else has the leadership skills, if they do burn out, to step into their roles and lead successfully with a mentor. So that's why it's a huge red flag if someone's doing the same role over and over and over, and you find someone in the club that's willing to step up and learn and give that person opportunity to mentor that new person. For our club officer elections, that's one thing I pitched when I was president, was my last term there. I was like, okay, we're not going anywhere. All our officers are not going anywhere. We're there to support you in your new role. We'll be there, ask for help as well. And we did throughout the term. And our club's doing actually pretty well. I'm happy with the results. Our officers have grown a lot, and they were all new members that took these officer roles. Everyone that stepped into a leadership role was a member, I think, for less than a year. So they were a little bit afraid, but giving them that extra support, saying we're there to make sure you're going to be successful, is key. So other red flags: membership participation. Are the members missing meetings? Do you have members that just miss 3-4 meetings a month? Well, I know 4 meetings is a whole month. That's not scheduled. I know some members like, I can only do twice a month. That's it. That's all I can do. My job is not allowing me to do anything else, but I'm going to be there twice a month. But for the other members, they're missing maybe 3 meetings a month. Maybe you need to reach out to them. Maybe the members are forgetting their why. Maybe the members aren't there supporting each other. That's where a great mentorship program comes in. And mentorship isn't just for new members. It's for existing members as well, that we can help grow each other. So those are other red flags you may want to keep an eye out for. I know taking attendance is difficult, but if you notice someone's missing quite a few meetings, maybe it's time to reach out to them and say, hey, how are things going? Just check up with them. So other red flags. Are meetings being canceled? I know it may sound surprising, but yes, that's actually happened. I've heard of clubs starting to cancel meetings. Even if it has a lower turnout, it's better to hold that meeting. You never know if a guest is going to show up. And if you're not there to invite them back, they're going to assume it doesn't exist anymore. So you're losing off on opportunities like there. Are the roles not being filled? That ties back to membership participation. Are the meetings not fun? That one I feel is key. The tools that my club uses is themes. We have a thought and joke master, and then an educational tip. The educational tip does not have to be Toastmaster related. Be a fun idea, you learn something great. We had one go off on how to cook steak properly with a cast iron skill, and I just made the whole club hungry. But it was a fun meeting. All those little things are there to be fun. Table topics is a great way to have fun, and it's a educational tool as well. But if these things aren't being done as a club, that's a huge red flag. So these are the red flags that you should be aware of and watch out for. So does anyone out here have any additional red flags that they've seen that I haven't covered? All right, well, not hearing any additional red flags, we'll actually move on. So the next thing we're going to cover is the concept of the 5 whys. Now this one helps you find that core issue or that specific problem. So it's really basic. It's write down what your problem is. Then ask why the problem is happening and write the answers down below that, as many as you can think of. And if the answer just doesn't provide a root cause to it, a lot of times you'll get shallow answers. It's like, oh, we don't have enough guests. Great. Understand. Okay, then that's a marketing issue. What part of marketing is not working? It's like, why are you not having guests? Then keep building it down till you actually get that core issue. You may have to loop back through it a couple times, but do it with your team as well. Or create a team just to do this specific task. That way you can get more ideas and different perceptions on what an issue is, and you can dig down to what that actual core issue is. And a lot of times it might not take all 5 of the whys, but it might. Sometimes it might take a few more just to find out what that core issue is. Membership's the biggest one for most clubs, but that might be only the result of a bigger issue. So I'm going to dig into a couple other things on how to do that. But before we do that, I'm going to show you a tool that is used for the 5 whys. That is the Fishbone Diagram. So over here is the effect. So low membership. Then up here you can have different reasons. Location, time of the meeting, no guests, whatever you want. And then you break it down even farther, like no guests, okay, not effective PR, or whatever the case may be. And then you just keep breaking it down till you find whatever that core issue is that's causing this result that you don't want. I Googled this. Here's the link, the copyright information right here at the base of the screen, if you'd like to use one yourself. So it's a great tool. I use it for a lot of things. I've got an operations background, and I use this for my professional life as well. It helps us find out what our core issue is and then solve that. And then everything else seems to lock into place once we've been able to achieve that goal. Now we've got a membership flowchart. Now this is the way I see pretty much membership for a club. And the reason this is so important is each point you may end up, if you want to break this down mathematically, you might find your numbers and find out where you're losing things, and this is where your issue is. So this is your generating interest for your first meeting. Questions for your first meeting that are key. Who's going to greet the guest? Is there going to be a guest book so you can invite them back? Are the guests introduced? Are the guests asked to visit again? Are the guests invited or at least explained how to join a club? The reason I actually use that wording is my club actually requires 3 visits before they can join the club. But after each visit, they get a welcome email or a thank you email explaining the next steps of the process and inviting them back, giving them more information about our club, about the experience, and kind of what expectations are there for them as a future member, and how our voting in process works. The application is sent with the 3rd email, actually the 2nd email. So they can fill out if they want, and they show up at the meeting. We have a vote on that. I have a quick question. If anyone on here knows why you're supposed to vote new members in. All right. Well, the reason you're supposed to vote new members in is so you can vote them out. I have only, in my experience in Toastmasters, come across this situation once. It technically wasn't voted out. Their renewal was not voted upon, or they were not voted in at renewal time. And that was 2 members. We found out what the core issue was for that club. This happened, the issues happened before I joined that particular club, so I can't go into details about that specific situation, but that is the value behind these steps, and that's why they're in place. So let's break things down, though. So you have your first meeting. How many guests are showing up? Are those guests being converted? So if you have like a 1% success rate in converting guests, then you might need to get a lot more guests to come in, or there's an issue with your first meeting or their first meeting. So this is where the subject of the conversation isn't as fun. This is the hard reflection on things. Conversion rate of cold calling is like 1 to 2%. Understandable. When you get them through the door, figure out what your percent is. And if you start slipping, then you might know something's wrong. And take a hard look at yourself as a club, or that particular incident, or those particular incidents, on what happened. So I've listed a few of the basics right here. Is the guest greeted? Is there a book so you can stay in touch with them? Are they introduced? How was their experience for that first meeting? Is crucial. If they're not having fun, if they don't see other people having fun, why would they want to come back and give up a lunch break, a night away from their families? All these things, you've got to give them the experience that you want as well. Then after the first meeting, do they want to join? If it's a no, you better follow up with them. Send them an email. Give them a phone call. Then after that, do they want to join? Maybe they need multiple visits. That's fine. Like I said, my club requires 3 visits before they join. Then it's a cycle of the loop again. You can track that. It's like, all right, this guest came twice, they vanished. This guest came twice, they signed up. You can start tracking those numbers so you can see where your success rate is for your club. So, do they want to join after you followed up with them? Maybe after a couple meetings. And maybe not first, it's the 3rd, 4th, whatever your club allows. But 3 is probably a pretty good rule of thumb. And on those guest visits, I know it's up to the clubs to decide their own culture and decisions on that. Having guests participate in table topics is great because it gets them engaged with the club, always give them the opportunity to bow out. But giving guests speeches, like a guest off the street looking to join a club speaking opportunity, That one I'm not that strong on. That's a benefit of being a member. Getting that evaluation, giving those speeches. Table topics is the taste of the experience. That's why I'm not that strong on that unless that's something you've teamed up with another club to do that's mutually beneficial. But having guests just do 5 to 7 minute speeches, I'm not a strong advocate of that unless it is like a prearranged thing with another club that's mutual beneficial. Now, after you've gone through the follow-up portion here, do they want to join? No. It's never going to hurt to ask why. Then you can find out. Does the time just not work for you? We lost one of our guests because we moved location. It was about their second, I think that one might have been their third visit, but it was that much farther for them on their lunch break. So it just wasn't as good of a fit for them. So great, we found some good feedback. It was the location that was part of the issue. It wasn't the way they were greeted. It wasn't any of those things. It was the location. And that's why it wasn't a great fit for them. Sometimes it might be not too many people are that honest up front in a meeting. So asking at the end of the meeting, I would leave that up to the discretion of the club. I'm saying, hey, do you mind giving us some feedback? They're probably a little bit too shy to actually speak freely. I'm not, and I have, to a club that I just could not believe the way they were doing things. And then the president and I had a conversation afterwards as well. I did that as an experienced Toastmaster, though. Just as I would give a normal evaluation, that's the way I did that at that meeting. I had a great discussion. Hopefully it's beneficial for the president at the time, but that was not going to be a club for me. But if it's in writing, and they're not going to come back anyways, so it's not going to hurt to get some feedback from them. But if they do say yes, let's get them joined. New member orientation. That one's key to their transition into their membership. How smooth is the application process for them? Like, we email them the application so they have time to read through it, fill it out at their leisure, and bring it to the meeting with payment and explaining payment methods. For us, check is best because we have club dues. Others, credit card or fine because they do not have club dues, or they have a Square card or whatever their payment method is. But have a refined method of filling out that application. Make sure there's someone or at least a few people at the meeting that can fill out an application to get a new member signed up. Then what is the new member orientation? Some clubs have the new member stand up at the end of the meeting and recite the promise. Or they incorporate with a whole club and then they'll finish the promise. That kind of sets up what their expectation is. Also, new member orientation. Are they explained now Basecamp? How to use Basecamp? What are the officer roles? Are they assigned a mentor? Or is there like a group orientation? Is there an orientation video that your club has designed? Or what aspect, how are you going to get them orientated to your club's culture? Get a feel for things. For our club, we assign roles. That's part of our culture. So the new member needs to know that. And it's like, how soon are they going to be giving their first speech? Those are the kind of things they need to be clear about and who to ask questions to. We make sure they have all the officers' email addresses. So if they have questions, they can go to the right person, or they have someone so they feel comfortable about the decision they made to join the club. And the next part of this flow is the first 6 months of membership. How many members are outlasting that? Are you losing members during the first 6 months? Or are all your members surviving the 6 months, then moving to 6 months plus? If someone falls out here, I should have drawn an arrow, but gain feedback. Why they leave the club? I love it. It was great. I got a promotion. I got a new job. I achieved my goal. I'm ready to bail. Whatever the case may be, gain that feedback. If they say they have achieved their goal, you can help them get new goals or work with them to gain new goals, which will keep them engaged. But if they're achieving goals in 6 months, you either have an amazing club or they didn't have that long term of goals. If you're losing members that have been with the club for 6 months plus, maybe you want to do an extra category. So they've been there a year plus. Why are they leaving? So find out those whys so you can fix whatever the issue is. And that's why I designed this flow chart, is so everyone can actually see this is where your meeting's at. In each one of those boxes is a spot you lose members or have an opportunity to lose a member, or a guest won't convert to a member. So it's important to understand that. That way you can always gain that feedback and know, okay, we're losing people within the first 6 months. We need to support those members without neglecting our members that have been here longer. Or we're losing members that have been here for 2 years. Did they lose their why? Are they feeling not supported? Or they feel like they're not growing? Whatever the case may be, but that'll at least give you information to actually be able to work with. If you don't know why you have low membership, then you don't know what's really going on with that. Another thing you can do to help find out what might be going on with your club is to find out what your membership retention rate is. The way you can do that is get your club base membership off of your district dashboard, which I'll send a link in the comment section of this on YouTube as well, and I'll email it out to you. I did not build a slide for this process, but I think it might be crucial to find out what your retention rate is. So if you have 20 members as your base at the beginning of the year, and under new members, we have those 2 goals in our DCP program, goal 4 and 4. Say you achieve both those goals, so you have 8 members. So subtract that 8 from the 20, so you're down to 14 original members. And then, actually, I'm sorry, I goofed up a little bit on my math, but you want to have your base and you want to have your current, which say you gain 4 members here to your current. So you gained, so it's 20 is what you started off with. Your dashboard says you have 24 members now. So let me pull up my calculator. I apologize for this. I don't have my calculator in front of me, but I think these are good numbers to have. I really should have this done for you. I want to apologize for that right now, but I'm going to do this math real quick. All right, so what it would be is your new members, which is in the Distinguished Club Program goals, which would be 8. Subtract that out of your base, which is 20, and then have that divided into the 24. So that would give you a 50% retention rate, which the sad thing is that's actually pretty average for Toastmasters. This year, my club ended up with a approximate 62% retention rate. So that's something you want to look into. It's like, all right, why are we losing people? Is it the great thing we look forward to, which is, you know, people getting jobs, getting promoted, or is there something else going on? So retention rate's crucial to find out. It's always easier to maintain your members than it is to get new ones. So that's part of the flow here. And that'll give you a higher picture of what's going on with your retention rate. All right, now what? Do you have the rapport to have these hard conversations, not just with yourself, with your other members? Which means you've got to be in with them, respected by them, and respect them to be able to ask these kind of questions to get in there and help fixing the club. Are you currently inspired enough to help inspire other members of your club? If not, find your why so you can help others find theirs. What tools do you need? Well, there's always support groups. You have your area and division council meetings, which happen at least twice a year, or supposed to be happening at least twice a year. You can attend those. You can encourage your area director to host more of them. Or you have your area director and your division directors to be able to do that. HPL is a high performance leadership program. It's one of the manuals in the legacy program. And they have 2 committees, an action committee and a guidance committee. A lot of people use the HPLs to rebuild their clubs. They have goals. They have people that just guide them. They have other people that actually are doing the work with them as a leadership project. So that's something else that you can do. One of the main key things, though, is to build an action plan with your team, or with our team being a district. Build an action plan. We're there to support you and help you achieve your goals, getting your membership back up, sitting down, being open to have a hard conversation that might need to happen. So on that, I want to leave you with this. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. Tony Robbins. So with that, that is my district email address, growth@d4tm.org. And I want to open it up to any questions people have at this point in time.
I appreciate all your great points that you pointed out. Really don't have any questions, but I'll try to apply some to our club. Thank you.
Yep, not a problem. This will be available. I don't know exactly when. Probably within 2 weeks, hopefully less than a week, on the district website, which is d4tm.org. We have a category called webinars, which might have been where you found this webinar, but we also have recordings there as well.
One of our senior members forwarded me the email, and then Stephanie Chow also copied me on an email a few days ago. So that's how I got it. Evan Bright, I tried using that. That didn't work, but the call-in number that Stephanie gave me worked well. Thank you.
I'm glad she did the extra couple emails to make sure we got you here.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very good webinar. Appreciate all the details you put forth and the points that you put that will help get new members, retain members, and so forth. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Does anyone else have any feedback or questions or comments that they would like to add to this topic?
I asked a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I typed in my question, but I guess you didn't see it. This is Donnie Davis.
Hi, Donnie. I
Hi.
did not see it. So let me see if I move this thing up, it might show up. Oh, there's her. Okay, there's my chat feature. Sorry about that. But go ahead, since we have you here, go ahead now.
Yes, you said how to complete the 5 whys, but I didn't know what the 5 whys were.
Okay. So let me go backtrack a little bit. So what the 5 whys are is just literally asking why 5 times.
Oh.
It's
okay.
a really simple, it sounds simple, but it can end up feeling a little complex. That's where the fishbone chart comes in, is writing it down. So I'll move to the next slide. So right here is what you put your facts. Is like, why do we have low membership? So you might put low membership here. Why? Guests aren't showing up. Members are leaving. Move location. Why did this happen? Or why is this affecting this? Why are we not getting guests? All right, is our location hard to find? Are there not enough signs? You know, if so, why not? Why isn't this happening? You know, you just keep asking why to get to the core issue.
So it's
come up with a couple of them.
It's the whys about the club, not about why people are joining.
Right. You could flip it the other way as well. The other why. So I guess I did put in a few whys here. The other why is why they join. So there's 2 different sets of whys here. One is why are we having a problem, and the other one is why are we doing things. So we have a positive why and a negative why. This is the positive why, which is like, why are we here? What motivates us? What gets us going? And then you have the negative why, which is more educational on like, why are we losing members? Why are members not showing up? You know, finding out what that core issue is. It might be there's a conflict in between members that causes and creates an unpleasant energy throughout the club. That's why people don't want to go to the meeting anymore. It's like, oh, I don't know, why are we not having these roles filled? You know, what else is going on that's causing this issue?
Mm-hmm.
But this is where having the rapport with these people asking is, because then you can have those honest, very honest answers. It's like, well, we're doing this and it's not fun. You know, it may be educational, it's not fun. It's like, okay, we lost, and then maybe that's a why there. So yeah, I'm sorry if that ended up being confusing, but yeah, there's 2 whys on here. One is why are you motivated? And please don't lose that why. And the other why is the issues why. So the 5 whys on how to drill down an issue till you find that core issue, which is what you use this fishbone diagram for.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, is there any additional questions at this point in time or anything I can clarify?
Who would I write to talk about my high performance leadership project?
In what sense?
Well, I've presented it to the club, but I just thought, since you said that there are committees or people to talk about it with, I thought I could maybe get even more information for making it better.
So part of the HPL project is having 2 committees. That's actually part of in the manuals in there. It's not just giving the presentations to your clubs, but it's building 2 committees. So it's whoever you want to support you in your venture.
Oh, I have that.
Okay, and then you have your action committee, which is people actually doing stuff. So you have the one supporting you, which could be your mentor, which could be, you know, giving you feedback, people from other clubs or whatnot. And then you have the people actually doing stuff. So that's what those 2 different guidance committees were. If you wanted additional support, depending on what the issue is, you might want to reach up to one of us district officers, maybe the area director, maybe the division director, or if it's with membership and retention or renewal issues, definitely reach out to me. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it is retention.
Okay. Send me an email and we'll schedule some time. We'll talk, or if you're local enough to San Francisco, we can meet for coffee sometime and actually just meet face to face and break down what's really going on. It'll most likely take a visit for the club to see what's going on as well, or a few visits.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. All right, any other questions that we might have at this point in time? All right, not hearing any additional questions, I'm going to hop to my last slide again, just in case you were not able to write down my email address. It is growth@d4tm.org. Feel free to reach out to me with any more questions you have, concerns, feedback on my webinar or presentation. I'm more than happy to hear all of that. With that said, everyone feel free to say goodnight to each other, and then I'll end our webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.